And hello once more, everybody. Welcome to episode 71 of A Druid's Dozen. My name's John, known in certain circles as the Rock Druid. I'm a radio DJ. I do a couple of radio shows. There's the Sunday Rock Show on BCFM radio, 93.2 FM in Bristol in the UK, and then there's the Rock Druid Show internationally on the Ashray Radio Network, big science and music station. And basically, this is me waving some of my record collection in front of the camera and chatting about them for a bit. This week we got returning to the normal format. I've got some vinyl, I've got some CDs, and in those CDs I've got two new releases and two that are kind of left over from the charity shop run that I did in Torquay the other week. So we'll come across them as and when. So without further ado, details to the radio shows, by the way, are down there on YouTube. They're over there on Facebook, so give them a look if should you want to. Anyway, we shall pass straight in with a bit of vinyl first of all, and we're going to kick off with a bit of kind of proto new wave of British heavy metal, or maybe it is new wave of British heavy metal, I'm not sure. Anyway, it's this is Marseille by Marseille from, I think it's 1979. I shall have a look on the inside in a minute. There's the front. There is the back. Whip this out. Nothing on the inner sleeve, no inserts or anything. There we go. Mountain Records and no, just the catalogue number on the run out grooves, no messages or anything like that, or etchings or signatures from masterers or whatever. Okay, when was this? 1979, I knew it was about then. Now, Marseille, they were a band out of London. They actually got formed in a sort of like pre-new wave of British heavy metal era. I think 74, 75, they actually first of all got together. Did a previous album of this called Black, White and Slightly Blue, which is a kind of hard rock comedy record, packed with sexual innuendo. It's like an heavy metal version of a Carry On movie, to be honest with you. But they soon got signed up by Nazareth's Mountain label and recorded this, which was their second album, I suppose, but the first one to actually be sort of to be taken anything other than a slight novelty record. Probably most famous these days for their guitarist Neil Buchanan, who those of you that remember kids TV in the 80s, programs like Art Attack and Number 79, know him as the presenter for such. But before then, and even now, he's kind of gone back to the metal. He's lead guitarist with Marseille. And this is a pretty good album. It's quite a hard rocking album. It's don't expect metal a la kind of Maiden, Priest. It's more kind of in your, I don't know, Stray kind of vein. It's kind of hot. It's more hard rock than full on heavy metal, but it's a damn sweet album. Highlights on here: Rock Me Tonight, Armed and Ready, Lady of the Night, Bring on the Dancing Girls, I Don't Want to Hurt You, Some Like It Hot. All cracking tracks, tightly played, and for a bit it seemed like Marseille could be the next big thing. However, they got packed off to the States by Mountain Records for quite an extensive tour on the back of this album, late 1979, and then Mountain Records went bankrupt, leaving Marseille stranded in the States. Basically, they had to sell their gear to get plane tickets home, and Neil Buchanan and a couple of the other guys turned around and said, right, that's it, we're out of here. And basically, Neil Buchanan became a kids' TV presenter. A couple of the other guys did carry on and bring out another album after this, but it was a bit AOR orientated and didn't really set the world on fire. So, And yes, Marseille has since reformed and done a couple of really good albums since. But this is, from the early days, this is probably their one standout record. As I said, Red, White and Slightly Blue is a little bit novelty. I said that's like a carry-on movie played by an heavy rock band. And so the album after this, I've got, but the title escapes me, is a little bit forgettable. But this is pretty sweet. I don't know the availability of this. I think it got a CD pressing when Marseille reformed around about 2012. But as to its current status, I don't know. So you may need to go and track down a vinyl copy, or try and find an MP3 rip or something for it. But it's worth checking out. It's a pretty sweet album. And you over British heavy metalers, this should be kind of in your collection. Yeah, Marseille by Marseille, 1979. Okay, moving on to their first CD of the day. And we're going to go a bit punk. Here we go. This is Year of the Mayfly by Cheltenham band Borrowed Time. And this came out in 2013. I think it was 2013, maybe 2016. I'll check on the inside. Anyway, there's the front. There is the back. There is the disc. That's what lays behind the disc. Pull this out. Here's the booklet. There's a better view of the front cover. In here is primarily lyrics. Don't even think there's a band picture in here. No, primarily it's all lyrics, and then there's credits on the back. Like I say, yeah, I'm pretty sure this album is 2016. I may be wrong, but yeah. Now, Borrowed Time, so they're an old school punk band. They're out of Cheltenham, and don't quite understand the relevance of the Mayfly logos, but I've got a couple of albums by these guys, and the whole Mayfly thing is a trope that they play out throughout their catalogue. So they're punk. They're kind of punk of the the old school, hints of Stiff Little Fingers, Clash, the Buzzcocks, Ruts in their sound. They're kind of as punk as it gets. And they're pretty good. So I've got a couple of albums by them. I've seen them live a couple of times. I even played with them with Alien Stashed on one occasion. And yeah, they're sweet. So this album's pretty cool. Highlights on here. Probably my favourite Borrowed Time track, full stop, is Trapped in a Cult. On the Day We Broke the World is a good 1 Minute to Midnight, Motion Sickness, Alpha Male, it's a big sort of cock rocker, Under the Radar. It's all pretty sweet stuff. Not really a weak track on here, and although this album isn't exactly earth shattering, it's very, very listenable. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, not much else to say really. I will point out that they are also known as Borrowed Time UK more recently because of an American Borrowed Time. So, if you can't find this album under Borrowed Time, Google Borrowed Time UK and you might be able to get it. But it's worth a listen, especially for all the punkers out there. And it's kind of it's got kind of some sort of like rockier elements as well into it, so that you don't have to be a sort of safety pin wearing Mohican spouting punk to really get into it. It's just a great album, and if you do get a chance to see these guys live, do so. You'll enjoy. Okay, keeping it punk-ish, bit of new wave maybe. Now, here's the next bit of vinyl. And this is 1979's The Fine Art of Surfacing by the Boomtown Rats. There is the front. There is the back. Now, this isn't an original pressing. This is on the nice Vertigo Polydor, Polygraph, whatever it's called, whatever the label was, is their nice price kind of budget label. These just reissue stuff, and basically you get the same original artwork and that, minus any kind of gatefold sleeves. It's kind of repackaged as quite simple, and these things were, I think when these came out, they were $2.99. That's kind of thing, you know, it was quite cheap. And but you know, the pressing's the same. There's the disc itself, Mercury Records. No running out groove message, just catalogue numbers again. And yeah, this is the Boomtown Rats' third album. Came out 1979, and I'll be honest with you, I love the Boomtown Rats, but in my opinion, this is a weak album. It's not. It's good. It's okay. It's competently played, and yes, it contains Don't Like Mondays, probably their best known song. But I've always found this a bit of a kind of record. I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that the album before this is Tonic for the Troops, which is, in my opinion, the Boomtown Rats have never topped that record. It's the classic with Rat Trap and me and Howard Hughes, I Never Loved Eva Braun, Living on an Island, all that kind of stuff. The album after this as well is another one that I really like, Mondo Bongo. It's the Boomtown Rats heading off into a more kind of pop punk territory. Contains tracks like Banana Republic and Elephant's Graveyard and those kind of things. This one, it kind of fits in between the two, and it's a bit of neither. You can see hints of where they were going, the hints of where they came from, but overall it's like a cheap Chinese meal. You eat it and then you think, yeah, it's not bad, but it's not very substantial, it's not very satisfying. It kicks off quite well. The one track on here I really do like is the opening cut, Someone's Looking at You, which was a fairly big UK hit single. But then it kind of wanders off after that. It's a loose concept work looking at aspects of American life. And maybe it was mixed and made for the American market because it's lost a lot of the punk fire the earlier Boomtown Rats albums have got. It hasn't got that kind of pop punk quirkiness that their later albums like Five Deep and Mondo Bongo had. It's a bit of a kind of unsatisfying piece of, not say blandness, because it's not bland. It is there's a lot of good. The performances on here are quite good. The production's good. It's just that it doesn't hang together. I mean, a lot of the Boomtown Rats albums, I played them all quite a lot, including this one back in the day. And I can pick up Mondo Bongo, or I can pick up the first album, or Tonic for the Troops, and I can read through it. And as I'm going through the title tracks, you get snippets of the song appearing in here. Much as I played this album, and I even played it the other day in preparation for recording this. Don't Like Mondays, and Someone's Looking at You, and the hook line from Windshield Factor Zero. But apart from that, it's straight out of the head. It doesn't stick. Not an album I'd recommend for Boomtown Rats fans. Yes, if you're getting into the band, by all means, and you want to be a completionist. But go for the Tonic for the Troops, go for the first album, go for Mondo Bongo. Even Five Deep's overall, to my opinion, a stronger overall record than this. So, yeah, I'll say fans only and for completionists only. Shame, because it's one of their biggest selling records, but it leaves me cold. Boomtown Rats, The Fine Art of Surfacing, 1979. Okay, next up we'll have something a little bit odd. I'll say odd, unusual, obscure. Well, I'll deal with the obscure anyway. This is Cortes Postales des Archipels by Lieutenant Caramel and Shaun Roberts. There's the front. There's the back. Pop this open, it's a gatefold sleeve like that. There's the gatefold. That's what lays behind the disc. There is the disc, and I think this was last year, 2000 or 2019. November 2020, that's right, last year came out. Recorded remotely under lockdown. Now, this is from a genre known as musique concrete. If you don't know, musique concrete's a rather interesting way of making music. Basically, it's normally done in the studio, although, you know, some musique concrete artists have been known to perform the stuff live. But basically, it's found sounds. Shaun Roberts, one of the collaborators on this album, member of a collective called the Mutant Beatniks out of Bath in the UK, and they did an album where it was they got hold of a load of telephone answer tapes and just cut them up and sampled them and looped them and all kinds of things. The idea is you build up soundscapes using, say, found sounds, field recordings. You know, you can find if you can find a car door slamming and you can turn it into a drum beat, then you use that. And it's not an easy listen. No music concrete. I wouldn't recommend that you run out and, if you're not used to kind of very experimental stuff, that you run out and get heavily into music concrete, because it can be a rewarding and enjoyable listen, but sometimes it can be hard work. This album's pretty good. I like a bit of music concrete, late night, laid back, background sounds while I'm reading maybe, or, you know, diddling around the computer. A bit of this in the background is cool. Doesn't get a lot of radio airplay because, you know, when I do play it, I do tend to get emails going, what the was that, you know? But, you know, this album is just pretty good, pretty chill, pretty relaxing, pretty laid back. Can be quite disturbing in places as well. There's, say, got moments like Couché Flory. Again, you can't really describe the music because it's just kind of thing, but that one's got an interesting kind of narration cut up and drops in. A lot of these tracks have got found narrations, or maybe it's even someone doing a narration for the song. I don't know. But it's hard to pick out individual tracks. I can pick out moments. Un Force Trouvé, CS Mon Song, I said the Couche Fleur, all high points, but, you know, this album should really be taken as a kind of massive, great big long 50-minute soundscape rather than picking out individual moments. Yeah, give some music concrete a try, but be warned, it's not an easy listen and is not the most accessible of genres. But, you know, if you stick with it, you may find something laid back and different to freak your friends out with when you want to clear the room after a party. Yeah, I like this. You may not, but try before you buy. Cortes Postales des Archipels by Lieutenant Caramel and Shaun Roberts, 2020. Good stuff. Okay, change your gear completely. Bit of REO Speedwagon up next. This is 1982's Good Trouble. There is the front. There is the back. Whip this out. You have an inner sleeve, sort of inlay with the band picks and credits. There's lyrics. Pull this out. Epic Records. There's the disc. There. Whoops, not that way. And no, just the catalogue numbers again on the Run Out Grooves or something there. No, that's just the Porcupine Cut, the UK mastering master. Guy called Porky, he was the guy that worked at some record plant, and he was the one that actually cut the master's dies, so he signed all his work, so it shows up, his signature shows up in a lot of stuff. I need a drink, hold on a second. Now, REO Speedwagon, I've waved a lot of their albums in front of this camera over the 71 episodes of this disc. I've still got a few others I haven't shown you yet, but basically they came out of the Midwest of the US in the early 1970s, built themselves up a solid reputation as a great rock and roll band, and I mean they were a great rock and roll band. Early 80s they did bite the MTV bullet and had a massive breakthrough internationally with an album called High Infidelity, which is the album before this. And interestingly, if you, I haven't got a copy of High Infidelity, well, I have got a copy, but it's not to hand. If you look at the High Infidelity album cover, this is kind of like the aftermath. High Infidelity's got a bloke with a woman going into the hotel room here, and this is the following morning where the cleaning ladies arrived to pick up the mess of what was obviously a night of passional amour, or whatever it is, you know. But anyway, this is a pretty good album. High Infidelity did suffer a bit from, in my opinion, for being a little bit over commercial and overproduced. It was a massive step away. The album before that, 9 Lives, was a really strong rock and roll album, and High Infidelity, yeah, one too many power ballads, in my opinion. This one, they began to kind of crank it back a bit. The closing cut, the title song Good Trouble, is a classic REO Speedwagon extended rock and roll workout. You know, sort of Gary Richards sort of freak out rock and roll guitars, etc. And Neil, what's his name, plonking away on his piano. Neil Gazzier. As Alan Glatcher was a drummer, Neil, whatever his name was, a keyboard player, I can't remember. But anyway, it also contains their big hit, Keep the Fire Burning, and tracks like Let's Be Bop, I'll Follow You, all good stuff. Yes, it has got a few power ballads on it. You know, there's The Girl with the Heart of Gold, Back in My Heart Again. But, you know, REO Speedwagon, they did do good power ballads, I'll give them that. So as long as they were knocking out the rock and roll stuff, I could overlook the occasional MTV special, and they did the MTV specials quite well. Yeah, this is pretty good. I will recommend the early 70s REO Speedwagon if you want to explore the band. Albums like if you can tune a piano but you can't tune a fish, cow, etc. You know, 9 Lives, great records. But yeah, the early 80s stuff's pretty good. This one and Wheels of Turning especially lost the plot after that a bit, in my opinion. But you know, they were one of the last bands to actually fall over from the MTV bullet, even though they were shot with it a few years previous. Yeah, not bad. Worth checking out if you like a bit of kind of good adult orientated rock and roll. REO Speedwagon, Good Trouble, 1982. Leads me on to the first of this week's new release, 2 new releases this week. This came out yesterday at the time of recording. I'm recording this November the 6th. This came out November the 5th. Although I've had this is an advanced copy, I have had this for a week or two. There's the front. This is Ship or Bust by Jolly Roger. There's the back. And just whip out the disc. There is the disc. Also available digitally, and not sure if there's a planned vinyl release or not yet, but who cares? It's Jolly Roger. This is a 5-track EP. I say came out yesterday at the time of recording. And if you don't know Jolly Roger, they're one of my favourite live bands. These guys are originally out of Penzance in Cornwall, right down in the far southwest of the UK. Now working out of Plymouth, and these guys are a folky pirate rock band. If you can think of the Pogues, meets sort of like Owlstorm on the high seas, that's roughly where these guys are coming from. It's all sea shanties and songs about drinking and piracy. Fantastic live band, and they're a band that can back it up in the studio as well. This is a 5-track album. I've only, 5-track EP. Lived with this last week or so, played it quite a few times, and this week, for this month, it's going to be my featured release on my 2 radio shows. So if you want to hear the tracks off it, tune into both the Sunday Rock Show and to the Rock Druid, where you'll hear this album, this EP being explored in depth. 5 tracks, not a weak one on here. You know, my favourite cut on the initial playthroughs are probably the 4th song, Michael the Menace. A song about a bloke that's one of these kind of people that you know that are kind of just a dangerous guy to be around, because you know if there's going to be trouble, he's involved. There's a Board, which is the single that came out off this, which is quite good. Kingfisher, We Rise, which is a big kind of piratey anthem about, you know, the rise of piracy. Reach Out, again another little rocking little folk rock number. You can put this on, crank up the volume, it makes you smell the rum and the sea spray, and it does make you want to kind of give it a pump of broadside into every boat that you see and nick any golden doubloons that may be on board. Not only can I recommend this album, this EP, I recommend their back catalogue. They've got a couple of other EPs and a full-length album out as well. And these guys are touring incessantly on Hubert II, which is their new band. Their previous band, Hubert I, died. They got a new one through a through a crowdfunding campaign. And because these guys are hugely popular right across the country, their gigs are packed out, and your chances are, no matter where you are in the UK and maybe even parts of Europe, this lot will show up around your way sooner rather than later. If they do, go see them, dress up as a pirate and have a party, because and they're nice people as well. Their fans are superb, the band are superb, the music's great. They're just the perfect package. Yeah, can't praise this band highly enough. Jolly Roger, Ship or Bust, the new EP. Go get. You'll love. Brings us on to the second of our new releases. This one came out a couple of weeks ago. Only got my copy last week because my band Alien Stashed In shared a bill with these guys, and I managed to been meaning to I'll get them to send me a copy, but I grabbed a copy off them while I was at the gig. So there's the front. This is Higanbana Part 1 by Scarsome. There's the front. There's the back. Pop this open. That's the gatefold with the credits and what's behind the disc. There is the disc. Like I said, this is a brand new release, only been out a couple of weeks. And yeah, now Scarsome are a Welsh metal band, formed out of the wreckage of a band called Fell on Black Days that were also quite good. Again, I've gigged them a couple of times, supported them at Soul Live a few times as well. When Fell on Black Days fell apart, a couple of the guys went on to form Scarsome, and these are very interesting. They got a rather interesting approach to the sound. They're kind of if you can imagine kind of Warlock, Doro, classic female-fronted German power metal, maybe hints of someone like Alexandra or Nightwish in there as well, but doing a kind of System of a Down, Static X trip. Fuse those two genres together, you get Scarsome. Makes for a very interesting sound and a very, very good live performance. And a very good EP here. Only 4 tracks on here. Hard to pick a favourite. Chains is pretty sweet. Probably Make Me Ache, the closing cut, if I had to stick my neck on the line and pick one particular song. But overall, 4 really, really strong tracks, and Scarsune are definitely a band that's going places. So look out for these on the circuit. If you see them, go check them out. Praise to the whole band. You got the twin guitars and Matt Holt, Aaron Dukes. They're sweet. They interplay the lead stuff between them. But excellent players. Tight rhythm section, Jim McDonald on bass, Nathan Mills on drums, and then Letha Curtis, the vocalist. Out Doro's Doro Pesh, which is saying something. And yeah, overall, sweet band with a sweet little debut EP that's yeah, lays out the stall for what could be big things in the future for this lot. Yeah, Scarsome, Higanbana. Highly, highly recommend this. You might have to order it online or something, or I think they've got a Bandcamp page up. You can order it through. So go check out, go get, or go see them live and get it at a gig. And then you can see them do their thing on stage as well, which is very impressive. Yeah, Scarsome, Higanbana Part 1, brand new release, damn fine. Okay, next up. Oh, this hurts. This does hurt. As we look at this. It is The Business of the Future to Be Dangerous by Hawkwind. From 93, sorry. Double album. There's the front. There's the back. Gatefolds lastly. Whip these out. Castle Communications label. No inner sleeves or anything. But there's the discs. Yeah, there is something on the run out grooves, but my eyesight's getting to this very small right, and my eyesight's going a bit. Now, if you've been watching this series, you know that I've got a love-hate relationship with Hawkwind. I used to love them, then I hated them, and now we're kind of distant friends that I have respect for. And this is the painful moment, because this is the divorce moment. Now, I've always loved Hawkwind, and Hawkwind have always been a band that have never been afraid to kind of mix things up, explore new genres. You know, you got the early kind of freaky acid space rock stuff. You got the kind of Robert Calvert led period throughout the sort of late 70s, where they're kind of what's sort of new wave, yeah, almost like indie rock, but very good with it. Then you had the Hugh Lloyd Langton fronted period throughout the 80s, almost heavy metal kind of era. I love all that stuff. Some albums better than others, yes, but you know, they're my babies. That's what I listened to growing up. That's what I love. Did an album called Space Bandits about 1990, which I thought was very disappointing. Then I followed it up with another album called Electric TP, which I thought was even more disappointing. Then they released this, which that's when I realised that as far as lovers, me and Hawkwind were over. I hate rave music. I really can't stand it. I used to work at a place called the New Trinity Centre in Bristol. I was their press officer. Only a voluntary role, I wasn't paid there. Went there as a work placement for 6 weeks, and then ended up volunteering and staying there for about 6 years, doing all the press and publicity. Sometimes, if they were short-staffed when they had the not evening events on, normally worked in the day, I'll get roped in to kind of crew a gig or a rave or something. And when they had the techno and drum and bass nights in there, I would rather spend my entire evening in a freezing cold car park, parking cars, than spend any time in the building listening to the respective acid. Well, on this album, Hawkwind involved rave culture. I brought this album home. I played it. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And basically it broke my heart. Hawkwind went third-rate rave. It's not even good rave. It's pretty shit techno. Traveller rave, I think it was known at the time. And I can understand why. Hawkwind always have been pretty big with the whole Traveller little convoy movement, and you know, that kind of rave, acid rave, was quite big at the time. But you know, Hawkwind always have been, say, genre jumping, but kind of always up for exploring new genres. They did this, and then they followed it up with an album called The Business Trip Live. They were the last 2 Hawkwind albums I ever brought for a while. I've got a few of the others that I've got retrospectively since, because I abandoned the rave project after a couple of albums. But you know, to me, the damage was done, and it broke Hawkwind, in my opinion, because they've never really recovered. Not only in my opinion, musically, they've just been a bit forgettable ever since. And you know, I did make myself have this another listen to just to kind of re-familiarise myself with it. And there are a couple of points on here that are, looking back with hindsight, aren't too bad. There's the 2 parts to Tibet Is Not China, where they're kind of, it's more Roderick Tentacles than acid house. And then it's got the weird Give Me Shelter with guest vocals from Sam Fox. Yes, Sam Fox, the glamour model. It was part of raising money for Shelter, the homelessness charity. The Rolling Stones song Give Me Shelter, recorded by various weird combinations. Can't remember any of the others, but Hawkwind and Sam Fox and their versions on here. But overall, this album is not my musical cup of tea. I hate it with a vengeance. I hate saying this about Hawkwind, but you know, this was the decree nisi between me and Hawkwind. Space Bandits have been the trial separation. Electric CP was the sort of like accounting the solicitors. This and the Business Trip Live, the decree nisi. And you know, now Hawkwind, yeah, we're me and Hawkwind these days, we're kind of divorced couple that are still friends-ish. You know, we can be civil to each other, but you know, it does hurt me looking at this album. Yeah, it is the business of the future to be dangerous by Hawkwind, 1993. If you're a rave head and you like peeled up, repetitive, senseless dance music, then go get. If you like Hawkwind, as in what Hawkwind were, avoid like the plague. Okay, for something, something a bit different again. This is The Magical Ring by Clannad, 1983. One of the leftover charity shop finds that I didn't have a chance to drop into last week's show. Got one more coming up after this, and I've got a few more that are going to show up on future editions of this. But yeah, Clannad's Magical Ring. There's the front, there's the back. Pop it open, there's the disc. Not much to show, just the gatefold sleeve with a few credits on that. Clannad, if you don't know, originally an Irish folk band, originally a very traditional Irish folk band. You know, all reels and jigs and and sort of like soulful folk ballads. Although they kind of began to kind of experiment with synths and various other kinds of types of instrument, and they kind of went space folk, best way of describing it. Very, very laid back, very trippy, very atmospheric. Enya was part of Clannad in the early days, and if you've heard Enya's stuff, you know, Orinoco Flow, etc. She went that way. Clannad went a similar direction, slightly differently. And yeah, the result is something very laid back and very trippy. It's probably their best known album. Got the theme from the TV series Harry's Game, which was about undercover soldiers in Northern Ireland. Quite a gritty drama series from the BBC back in the early 1980s, exploring the morality of the Northern Irish conflicts and the troubles, etc. Clannad soundtrack, which some of the tracks on here also turn up as on there as well. So it's kind of a soundtrack album, but there's some other non-Harry's Game related stuff on here as well. Really, really cool. New Grange is another great track on here. Actually, it is really, really good overall. Yeah, a lot of this is in Gaelic, so I'm not going to Irish Gaelic, so I'm going to try and Tami Nu Shah through a Spanish. I've got a friend that speaks Irish Gaelic fluently, and every time I try and pronounce anything, he just talks about laughing. So if you're watching, Pat, I'll give you a giggle. But anyway, this is quite cool. I do like Clannad. I've got a couple of albums by them. This is just kind of dropping a rather obvious hole in the collection. And yeah, I like it. If you like it, this is a really good album for late night listening. Put the lights out, stick this on, just lay back with a glass of what you fancy, 4:20 in the evening, and late night 4:20, whatever, and just go with the flow. Very, very chilled out, very, very good background music, and but very, very well played as well. So Clannad, Magical Ring, 1983, cool stuff. Okay, next up, a bit of a classic. Here we go, Hair of the Dog, Nazareth, 1985. The album was originally going to be called Son of a Bitch, but the American record label threw a blue funk when they heard that and insisted on a name change. Because you can't sell it in Walmart with bitch on the title. Grow up, America. Anyway, there's the back. Is it a Roger Dean cover? David Rowe, well, son of Dean then, whip this out. There's the inner sleeve, just the cartoony, triple-headed, Cerebus winged demon bitch dog on there. Whip this out. Here we go. Mountain Records. There we go. And just catalogue number. Now, definitely one of Nazareth's best albums. Definitely their biggest selling. Is it my favourite? Possibly, but possibly not, because I really love No Means City as well, and Show No Mercy. But you know, it's definitely one of Nazareth's strongest albums, and one that I do play lots and for the hell of it. Opens up with the title track, Hair of the Dog. That's the one with the Manny Charlton talk box. Wow, and then with the great chant on chorus, now you're messing with a son of a bitch, you're messing with a son of a bitch. Fantastic anthem. A real laziest album out of the thing. Guilty, Changing Times, Beggar's Day, Rose in the Heather, which is a kind of sweet little kind of interlude on here. Lines up with the closing cut, Please Don't Judas Me. Dan McAfee's vocals on that are just to die for. It sounds like he's being strangled by barbed wire, but it sounds great doing it. And I don't mean any disrespect to Dan McAfee. He's a great vocalist and a big inspiration on my own vocal style. Try and rip him off, something rotten. Don't succeed, but I have fun trying. Absolute diamond, superb record. One of the greats of not only Nazareth's back catalogue, but one of the greats of 70s hard rock, full stop. Yeah, if you haven't heard Nazareth, you know, because these days are a band that tend to get forgotten about a bit, but you know, which is a criminal shame when they've released albums like this and No Means City. And I hastily recommend, if you've not heard Nazareth, try and track some down. And you know, this album is as good a place to start as any. Yeah, Razzle and Naz is another good one. So No Means City, Show No Mercy. But this is the Dogs. The Bitches. Yeah, good stuff. Okay, last CD of the day. And another charity shop from Torquay hangover. Here we go. This is Pocketful of Kryptonite by the Spin Doctors. Bit of American, floppy-haired student indie for you. There's the front. There's the back. Pop this open. There's the disc. So nothing behind the disc because it's a black plastic thing. Whip out this. There are the Spin Doctors. Fold this out. Big long thing. Lyrics and credits and artwork and all kinds of that kind of malarkey. Now, I got this album primarily for one reason, and that's the track Two Princes. Something that's been missing from my collection for ages, and it's just a personal thing. There used to be a boat in Bristol called the Lochiel. Old merchant steamer, sadly towed away and scrapped because it sank in the harbour one day. But it was old passenger ferry, Dunkirk veteran ship. I've been moored in Bristol for many years, converted into a pub and a nightclub. And on there was a place called the Pig Club. Now, there was a bit of a dark period in Bristol, if you're into punk or metal or alternative stuff, where the granary had shut down, the beer keller wasn't doing its metal nights, And basically the only place in Bristol where you could go out and listen to a bit of metal, a bit of goth, a bit of punk was this pig club on the Loch Hill. And it was the kind of DJs used to mix it up. Used to have like a bloke did like punk for an hour, then you'll get an indie guy, then you get the metal guy, and it'll phase it in and out between them. And you know, the indies, lots of students in there, like bikers and punks and like alternative people, that kind of thing. But the always ended up with the more students than anything else. It always used to end up with the indie DJs, and by that time of the evening, with a few ciders inside me, or more than a few ciders inside me, I'll be in the mood to dance to anything. And at the time, Two Princes, because this album was 1992, yeah, Two Princes was in the charts. It was a popular track, that would go on. And everyone would just stagger onto the dance floor and jump around, sort of drunkenly to, if you want to talk for hours, go ahead now, etc. And just generally have a good time. And knew a couple of people had the album, knew the album was not bad, so when I saw this 50p charity shop, I thought, right, I'll grab it. And listening to it, it's not a bad album. First time I've really explored the whole album properly, other than, say, the odd track at a nightclub or, you know, playing it around at a mate's house. It's pretty sweet, yeah. I'd have to say Two Princes is probably the best track on here. Definitely the most accessible. But, you know, you got songs like Sweet Widow, I can't read, my glasses are going funny. Yeah, Little Miss Can't Be Wrong, 40 or 50. Yeah, it's all pretty, I can't read, but it's all pretty good stuff. Enjoyable, well played. Maybe not kind of earth-shattering, but it's a fun record. And, you know, certain types of music, yeah, certain music should be very serious and thought-provoking and that. Other types of music, especially this kind of indie, should be fun, alt rock, whatever you want to call it, just fun kind of party music. And overall, that's what this is. Yeah, every time I sort of pick my way through this album, it does sort of flash me back to the early 90s. And especially kind of Two Princes takes me onto that dance floor at the Loch Hill. And yeah. So, if any of you are watching this that will down the Loch Hill with me, Alex, Nick, Jeff, etc., Andy, etc., Paddy, then next time we play Two Princes, think of us all down there on the Loch Hill. Very, very drunk, having a good time. Yeah, Spin Doctors, Pocket Full of Kryptonite, 1992. Not bad. Leads us on to the final vinyl. And not only is it the final vinyl, it's the final countdown. Yeah, this will have to come out in the end, I suppose. Yeah, the final countdown, 1986, I think it was. Anyway, I'll have a look on the sleeve in a minute. There's the front. There's the back. Whip this out. Lyrics. There's Europe themselves at their height, at their fame, at their glammiest. Whip the disc out. Yeah, it was 1986. There's the disc. Whoops, that's up the wrong way. Epic Records there. No, just catalogue number. Now, yes, this is a cheesy album. I am not going to deny the fact that this is a cheesy album. It's got a couple of tracks on here that take the term overexposed to a new level. The title track, for example, if I never hear that song again, it will be too soon. Not only have I heard that song too many times by Europe, I've heard it murdered many times on, you know, it's one of these ones that it's quite a tricky track to play and get right. And I've heard lots of bands, including a string quartet, screw it up pretty bad. Then you got Carry, the big power ballad, tear jerky. What's it? Let's have a look. Carry, carry, things they change, my friend. Carry, carry, one day we'll meet again. Hate it with a vengeance. However, those two tracks aside, this album's not that bad. Yes, it's cheesy, it's glam, it's hair metal, it's kind of very commercial. But, you know, tracks like the other single off here, Rock the Night, nice bit of anthem. Heart of Stone, Love Chaser, they're good songs. I can't deny the fact they're good songs, well played. And Europe are a great band. I will put my hand on my heart and say, yep, this is their moment in the sun. This is their overexposure moment. But the couple of albums, this is their third album. They did 2 albums before this, which are quite good. And they are currently signed to Frontiers Records, and I get a lot of music. I get all the Frontiers back catalogue sent to me when it comes out. And I've heard the last few Europe albums, and they've been great. They've been good. They've been kind of, yeah, it's that kind of Swedish glam. The Swedes are very good at glam. Look at bands like Crazy Licks and the Raw Republic, for example, and Crash Diet for more examples. Sort of Scandi, glammy Scandis, and yeah, it's a great genre. And Europe, you've got to uphold these guys as being one of the forerunners of this, because all those great bands like Raw Republic, Crash Diet, Hardcore Superstar, etc., Crazy Licks, they wouldn't have been there had not Europe kicked the door open for them and these were one of the Europe, probably the band that put Swedish hard rock and metal on the map. So you got to salute this album for that as well. Yeah, I can skip the first couple of tracks, Carry and the title song, but I can still enjoy the rest of it. I'm not under any illusion it's their best album. It's not their best album. This is far from their best album. And kind of the name of it escapes me, but they brought out one about 3 years ago that absolutely stellar. But yeah, I'll salute this album for what it is. It's an important album in the history of Swedish rock, and again, it's got that F word. It's fun, it's accessible, it's fun, it's not a hard listen, and yeah, and you don't have to listen to the first cut if you don't want to. Yeah, Europe, the final countdown, 1986. Would I recommend it? Yes, I would, if you're into that kind of thing. So that's it this week. Hope you enjoyed. Remember to like, share and subscribe. Comment as well if you want. There's the comments are down there and over there. Do the finger dance. My missus complains if I don't do the finger dance. And, you know, let's have your opinion. You know, you ever experienced music concrete? If not, go off, try some, come back and leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Europe. Best Europe album. Nazareth. How good is Hair of the Dog? And was I wrong about Hawkwind going all rave? I mean, did you like Hawkwind's rave stuff? You know, it's so, yeah, I'll keep it polite and try and tell me why I'm wrong by not liking that period of Hawkwind. So, yeah, always good to hear from you. Don't forget, check out the radio shows, links. And until next week, peeps, be good to yourselves, and I'm out of here. Bye.